y'all. Welcome back. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Reading Lounge, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. If you are new here, welcome. I do all things bookish with a little lifestyle thrown in. If that's interesting to you, welcome to my channel. I do invite you to subscribe down below, and don't forget to leave a comment so I know that you have been here. And if you are returning, thanks so much. I really do appreciate your continued support. So as you can see, I'm using my microphone again. I bought this a couple of months ago, but I haven't been using it recently. I thought I would pick it up because honestly, I really do like holding this thing up and talking into it. I really do. The sound, I don't know. I'm not too enthused. Maybe that's the reason why I stopped using it, but I really like the way it looks. It looks so official, right? Anyway, so welcome back to another Bookish Musings. This is a video that I came up with, like a segment, a series that I came up with that I do periodically, maybe once or twice a month here on the channel, just reflecting my bookish thoughts, sharing hauls, which are library hauls now because I'm still on my book buying ban, talking about recent reads, current reads, upcoming reads, or anything bookish that I want to talk about, with a little lifestyle too thrown in there, okay? Because I'm a real person, and books, although I love reading books, I do other things and like to talk about other things here and there as well. So I hope you can appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to start with talking about something that I mentioned on a previous video, and that is reading nonfiction. So if you have been watching my channel from the beginning, you've heard me say that I started in my reading journey a couple years ago, reading nonfiction, specifically African American history, and I learned a lot. However, since I have started reading fiction, you couldn't pay me to pick up fiction a couple years ago, but I'm not sure who introduced me to the idea of reading fiction, but I'm glad I was introduced. I have really been enthralled in my fiction so much that I have completely forgot all about my nonfiction, y'all. I can't forget about my nonfiction. There are so many good books that I need to read on my shelf, okay, that have just gone by the wayside because I've just been focusing on fiction lately. And so I'm going to first start with a nonfiction that I recently finished. And I talked about this at the beginning of the year. I think this was in my 25 by 25. I'm sure it was. And that is Atomic Habits. So this one is by James Clear. It is Atomic Habits, Teeny Changes, Remarkable Results. And I did actually write a lot of notes regarding this. So let me just get my notes really quick. I'm just going to briefly tell you what I liked about this book, what I didn't like, my takeaway points. Do I think you should read it? Yes, I do. I do think you should read it. I think nonfiction is very useful. You can learn something, even if it's to reinforce what you already know. And I feel like this book did just that, kind of reinforce things that I already knew. Okay. So this book is pretty much about easy, fundamental, and like proven ways of how to form a good habit. It's not like mind breaking, or I would say it could be life changing if you're someone who has a problem with keeping habits that you've never, or good habits. We're talking about good habits, okay, not bad habits. And you've never like read a book, I would definitely suggest this one because it's very easy to read. It's very clear. It's pretty much about basic and fundamental principles. I can relate to this book in so many ways of how I use the strategies and basic principles already before even picking up this book. Like I was just recently prescribed a buttload of medication about 2 weeks ago that I have to take at a specific time. It's a taper and all of that. And for me to be able to remember like the dosing schedule and stuff like that and remember to take the medication, I have to have the medication out, set on the counter or my work desk in my view so I can see it. Things like that, principles and strategies that you can put in place that are basic. The book had a chapter summary. Every point that he wanted you to understand was wrapped up and summed up very briefly, like a paragraph. Very, very short. He gives real life examples of everything that he's talking about. Some of the things that stuck out to me: setting up cues for you to do better, stacking habits, meaning combining the habit that you currently have, which is probably a bad habit, stacking that with a good habit. For instance, if you want to read more, this is just throwing this out. At 7 o'clock, you watch TV, your favorite show at 7 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, you turn on your TV show. After it goes off, have your book right there because you're going to be reading after you watch TV. That's just an example of stacking habits. And he talks about creating systems. Goals are good, but if you don't have a system in place to how you're going to get to that goal, meaning I want to lose 5 pounds. It's so vague, right? How are you going to do that? What system are you going to put in place? Are you going to exercise 3 times a week? What are you going to do for exercise? You're going to walk on a treadmill? Are you going to walk outside? You're going to do some hand weights? Come up with a schedule. Have a routine. You have to have a routine. So it's really basic and fundamental. I like the fact that it really reinforced how to keep these habits. And I feel like once you do, like I said, once you do these habits over and over again, it becomes routine. So I definitely like the book. Was it groundbreaking? No, it wasn't. But it's always good to have a book like this to go back to, just in case you fall off. And we're all human and we all fall off. So I'm happy that I was able to pick this up and read it. And yeah, I actually I listened to this a majority on audio, but I also picked it up and read parts of the book as well. And I also made notes as well. This is something I will go back to over and over again because I'm not perfect. I mess up too. And so I have to recenter myself sometime and come back down to the fundamentals. Okay. All right. So that is a nonfiction that I've completed, and I'm so happy I got that off my list. And so for June, upcoming reads that I'm committing myself to reading, this is The Warmth of Other Suns. I bought this probably 8 years ago. It's a chunker. The reason why I have not read it, but many people say that it reads like a narrative fiction novel, which should be easy to get through. And so I am going to commit myself to reading this. If I have to read it all month long, I probably prefer to do that with a nonfiction just to make sure, I'm soaking up everything I can. It's not a rush. This is not a race. Okay. Reading for me is not a race. So I'm going to be reading The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. And then because I have not read a memoir lately, and I like to read memoirs, I have plenty of memoirs, but again, it hasn't been a priority. I am going to read James McBride's The Color of Water, a Black man's tribute to his white mother, because I'm finally getting into my Black male authors. I did start Perfect Peace by Dr. Daniel Black, and y'all, I'm loving that book. Hopefully I will have posted a reading vlog about that, stating everything I liked about it. And so James McBride is another Black author that I want to get into this year as well. And so I'm going to start with his memoir. James McBride is a biracial person. His mom is white and his father is Black, apparently. I think this is a good place to start with, like a new author starting with a memoir. All right, so those are the nonfictions that I'm going to be reading. Next, I'm going to be showing you all a library haul, okay? So I've been utilizing my library for months now, ever since I've got back into reading. I think that's where I started. The first book I picked up from the library was this book right here when I first started last summer. I think it was May, reading, and it was really, really a good book. So I checked these books out. Most of them I have not heard anybody really talk about. Some of them I have. I also like to read other books too, because just because no one on the internet is talking about the book does not mean it's not a good book. All right, so the first book that I checked out is this one. This is called Yinka, Where Is Your Husband? This one is by Lizzie Demi Lola Blackburn, sorry. And I got this one because I love the premise. So let me read the premise to you. So it says, Yinka's Nigerian aunties frequently pray for her delivery from Singleton. No, good and well, I'm blind. That's better. So it says, Yinka's Nigerian aunties frequently pray for her delivery from Singleton. Her work friends think she's too traditional. Parentheses, she's saving herself for marriage. Her girlfriends think she needs to get over her ex already and the men in her life. Well, that's a whole other story, but Yinka herself has always believed that true love will find her when the time is right. Still, when her cousin Rachel gets engaged, Yinka commences Operation Wedding Date. aided by a spreadsheet and her best friend. Yinka is determined to succeed. Will Yinka find herself a husband? And what if the thing she needs to find is herself? So I picked that book up specifically because of that premise, because I'm a woman of a certain age and I've never been married. But I feel like as time goes by, y'all, that my thoughts about marriage and having to be married are changing. I definitely think finding yourself is important and not rushing into relationships or marriage just for the sake of being married. And I've always kind of been in like relationships, but I've also been single as well. And I'm just appreciating all the free time that I have. Like, I just don't have any worries like that. The more time that goes by, my thoughts about getting married and giving up like my space and things like that are shifting. The next book that I got is this one is called This Side of Home by Renee Watson. If you watched my previous library haul or Bookish Musing episode, I will link it here. I got Skin and Bones, and I am going to read that one. So all these books that I got from the library, I got like probably 10 at this point. I will be reading these books, okay? If I have to renew them multiple times, they will be getting read or rechecked out at some point. But I haven't heard anybody on the internet talking about this one, which I was drawn to. I want to make sure that I'm not being solely influenced by books that other people are recommending without, recognizing what I really want to read. This one stuck out to me, This Side of Home by Renee Watson. Again, it's about a lady. Her name is, what's her name? Nikki. It's about sisterhood, friendship, gentrification, two people going separate ways or growing apart in the midst of like a changing neighborhood. So that sounds very interesting, and I'm very interested and curious to read about that one. Okay, so this next book, I probably have hopefully talked about this book in a previous video because this is a newer author to me, Denny S. Bryce. I read The Other Princess, which did not 100% live up to my expectations. I think that book could have been so much better. And so this author, I did a video recently that I will be giving a second chance to. And I didn't realize, or did I? Yeah, I did. Well, this one got good reviews on Goodreads. So I decided to pick up another book by her. This is called Wild Women and the Blues. And this one is her debut. So I'm going backwards, right? I'm going backwards. But I saw that it did get good reviews, and she writes historical fiction. She is pretty much a new author. So I feel like everybody deserves a second and maybe third chance. And so we're going to read this one. It's set like, I think, in the Harlem Renaissance period, historical fiction. And my library has a sticker on the back, so I really can't. I'll just put the synopsis on the screen for you. So I will be reading Denny S. Bryce. And so the last one is definitely a very popular book. The reason why I got this one is because I think I was watching Kayla Bookish Vibe said this one was her favorite one. And so I've been hearing about this one, but I'm not the type of person that jumps on bandwagons, like reading popular books. However, I want to read contemporary romances. And so I thought I would go ahead and start with Christina Forrest, The Neighbor Favor. The premise sounded interesting about a shy, bookish, and awkward Lily Green. She's always felt inadequate compared to the rest of her accompanying family who strives for Black excellence. Apparently, she's stuck in a department that she does not like in her job when she starts conversing with her favorite fantasy author and sending emails, and then he ghosts her. And then I think later on, she needs a date to a wedding, and she comes across someone named Nick Brown, her neighbor, and then it goes from there. And so this is a part of a series. I've been getting into series this year. I can't say I haven't enjoyed the series. Well, most of them I've enjoyed. But yeah, it's a part of a series. And so if I like this one, I will continue. If I don't, then that would just be it. Y'all, that is it. That's all I have to say in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate your continued support here on the channel. If you made it to the end, leave a heart emoji to let me know that you were here. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and be blessed.